Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar. The team here at PayIt sincerely appreciates that you've taken some time out of your busy schedules to spend time with us. Today's webinar is titled Digital Customer Engagement for Utilities. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll be discussing some timely feedback from the CS Week conference a number of us attended earlier this month, and highlight some current expectations from a modern utilities engagement platform. We'll also be covering other aspects of today's title topic, including key features and functionality that will help you in your modernization journey, whether you're at the starting line of building your digital footprint or you're already driving down that road. At this point, some quick introductions are probably in order, so I'll start. I'm happy to be with everyone today. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Dawn Schrum and I lead product marketing here at PayIt. Prior to PayIt, I spent 10 years working in the utilities space for a multinational advanced metering infrastructure company, where I lived through the first wave of smart grid upgrade projects and subsequent customer engagement initiatives. I am so excited to be working here at PayIt, where we get to focus on building superior customer experiences without having to live through the associated 2 to 5 year infrastructure upgrade. So thank you so much for being here with us. I'll pass it over to Adam to introduce himself.
Thanks, Dawn. Hi, everyone. My name's Adam Jensen, and I'm a senior solution consultant here at PayIt. As Dawn said, we're happy to have you and that you've taken the time to join us here today. I'm also a member of the product team, and I get to spend a lot of my time helping the sales part of our organization to assist folks like yourselves with matching technology solutions to your current initiatives, typically starting with product demonstrations. I'll have my contact info at the end for those who are looking for more information or who want a demo focused on your specific needs and questions. So please don't hesitate to reach out. On the chance that some of you are not familiar with PayIt yet, I just want to briefly cover some of our background here. As a company, we were founded almost 10 years ago, and while you may or may not have heard of us, we've already provided services to over 80 million citizens. How is this possible? Well, we've built world-class products that focus on the citizen first, with user experience and security as foundational elements. We'll talk more about this later. Also, the strength and reliability of our platform combined with the quality of our service have not only resulted in millions of users appreciating this relative ease of interacting with their state and local governments, but it's also netted PayIt a lot of public sector recognition and numerous awards over the years, including our placement on the GovTech 100 list for 6 years running. Enough about us for the moment. Let's jump into why we're here. According to the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, as of the end of 2021, U.S. households owed energy providers $20 billion. And that was down from a peak of around $30 billion during the height of the pandemic. This probably doesn't come as a surprise. It's fair to say that there are a number of contributing factors to how we got here, but what matters here today is that we need to help resolve this. One of our current clients said something a few months back that stuck with me. He's a tax collector, but I think the point is instructive here for all of us. He said, the only thing we have to offer is service. Nobody likes to pay their taxes. Nobody likes to pay their utility bills either. Think about that for a minute. Concise and so obviously accurate. So at the heart of today's conversation is this simple fact. The citizen experience and making it not only easy, but delightful is critical to our success. The question then becomes, what can we do better to facilitate these engagements and improve the citizen experience? That's going to be a big part of our focus here today. And this citizen-centric focus should also result in revenue assurance, faster time to revenue, as well as a number of other positive outcomes. Now, if you and I have spoken before, you probably have heard me mention our partnership with the City of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I want to first congratulate them again on their recent Smart 50 award that they picked up at Smart Cities Connect 2022. They use our platform for water and refuse payments, as well as property taxes, parking citations, and more. Among the many positive effects of implementing our solution was a $200,000 decrease on water bill late fees and a 278% increase in overall dollars collected since 2017. There's certainly a lot to be proud of. Here's the thing, I'm also bringing them up because this started with a focus on making their website work better for their community. They found that of their over 12,000 published web pages, 86% of this online user traffic was related to bill payments or invoice information. And evidence suggests they're not an outlier, that government websites are often difficult to navigate and that a good chunk of their traffic is about how to take care of payments. I would absolutely encourage others to reach out and learn more from their demonstrated success here. People demand easy. I don't think that's a surprise either. I've been in the public sector SaaS world for a while now, and even before COVID, I started telling anyone who would listen that we live in an on-demand age. Since that time, digital engagement has accelerated significantly, and not only are there no signs of it stopping, it's come to be seen as the default engagement channel. Consistently, when we've asked our utilities clients and their customers what some of the most common obstacles or issues are for them, they consistently point to confusing websites. They're hard to navigate, hard to find what they're looking for, hard to find where to make payments, much like our friends in Grand Rapids. Unclear payment channels. Sometimes this could be as simple as that there's not options there for partial payments, for example. Lack of alternative channels for payment. Are they allowed to do this in different ways? And difficulty in managing accounts. In NASCIO's state and local 2022 tech forecast, when respondents were asked to rank the top 5 business processes, practices, or investment changes that they believed would continue past the pandemic, the #1 response, which was up from #3 in 2020 survey, was increased attention on digital government services and citizen experience. In a related question, they're asked about the biggest driver to expanding these digital services. 74% of respondents indicated that it was a better online experience for citizens that led to this focus. So our public sector tech leaders are telling us overwhelmingly that digital government services are here to stay and that better citizen experiences are the objective. Now, obviously, we here at PayIt are interested in working with all of you who are watching our webinar here. And we've had a history of partnering successfully with utility authorities, cities, and others. And like our friends in Michigan, of course. Within the utilities vertical of our platform, we can help your residents pay all their utilities in one place. They can find and link accounts, they can manage e-billing, they can set up automatic payments. Our solution also provides them with notifications about upcoming bills and other updates. But these are just some of the basics. Last month, Dawn and some other folks at our payment team made their way out to sunny Phoenix, Arizona for CS Week's annual conference. Dawn, could you share a few of the highlights from the week?
Thanks, Adam. I'm happy to. First off, it was great getting to see many of our partners and future partners in person at CS Week, and I see a couple of you on the webinar today, so thanks for joining us again here. CS Week is a big show, a national show, and has a nice cross-section of utility customer service professionals across investor-owned utilities, muni, and public power entities that serve electric, gas, and water customers. Especially due to it having been a couple of years since we were all able to attend this event in person, I was really struck by a couple of key themes I heard in the general sessions and on the trade show floor. First, lots of talk about digital wallets and how to meet customers where they are to make it easy and convenient for them to pay. I've been working with utilities for more than 10 years, and I've never seen so much genuine interest in digital wallets. Weren't even talking about them the last time I went to these shows. People are getting accustomed to using them and have come to expect them, and it really shows. Equitable service is another theme, and being sure to accommodate those customers who are underbanked and also those customers who are not keen to use digital payment channels was also a frequent discussion topic. While the trends keep ticking upward in terms of the percentage of your customer base desiring to pay digitally, we all know there remains some customers that will not ever do this, even if they aren't underbanked, they just don't want to. So we just can't forget about the importance of taking this into consideration. Most of the larger exhibitors at CS Week are CIS system integrators or technology providers. For many customer service departments, updating the customer information system is one of the larger upgrades they will ever manage technically, and something that impacts every facet of the business. In my discussions at the show, I saw quite a few light bulbs go off when the people I was talking to realized that a company like PayIt is able to take care of the customer-facing experience without having to wait on the CIS system upgrade. So these departments don't have to wait 2 to 5 years to consider the customer-facing experience. The norm is really shifting to one where open solutions can seamlessly integrate with one another and not locking our customers into a single proprietary solution stack. So that's really cool. I love to see that transformation, and the technology is really here to deliver on that. Adam, I'll hand it back over to you to keep us rolling.
Awesome. That was great, Dawn. Thank you so much. So for those in attendance today that were not able to make it to CS Week, we're going to highlight some of those more commonly mentioned areas of interest with respect to utilities, software, and solutions. And with each of those, we'll go into a little bit more depth throughout the rest of the webinar, but it was certainly reassuring that our core business has perfect alignment here. So they talked about digital wallets, about a single point of identity, about cash payments, about security. The bottom line, whether you are an investor-owned utility, your local utility, your government-owned, your end users are looking for, and as default expecting, a personalized, secure, flexible, and accessible experience with both the government and businesses they interact with. A survey from McKinsey & Company published last October found that 82%, or more than 4 in 5 Americans, used some form of digital payment in 2021. Now, I suspect some of you are thinking, not in my world, and you'd be right. That's why we're all here today. What we've found is that there are a lot of digital payment systems out there that fail to achieve what we'd consider even modest adoption rates. Our business here at PayIt is built on demonstrated proven success and significantly higher digital adoption rates. This is not a case of if you build it, they will come. Best practices and user engagement are critical. Following on that stat, here's another. There was also a study from Deloitte from back in 2017 that indicated 57% of residential respondents preferred digital interaction with their utilities provider. If I had to guess, that pre-pandemic snapshot is probably several percentage points lower than if the study was done today. Clearly, digital engagement and payment channels are continuing to be more of an expectation. One of the obstacles to adoption, though, is the effectiveness of those channels. The key is to look at it from the perspective of the end user. Lack of digital adoption in the public sector is why here at PayIt, we focus so much and so deliberately on user experience. One of those hot topics from CS Week that is truly fundamental to our platform is the use of digital wallets. Our trademarked GovWallet is a digital home for users to securely store and later access personal documents, receipts, payment methods, and more. Your customers can store different payment methods. So that's ACH or e-checking, their credit cards, their debit cards, but also, and we'll talk about this more in a bit, cash payments are part of our solution as well. And depending on your business rules and the use case, you might allow your users to manually pay towards linked bills or to set up automatic payments as desired. But your citizens' GovWallets also keep their transaction history and all the official receipts all in one easily accessible place, potentially across multiple properties or even multiple jurisdictions. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this here, but for the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with PayIt, I'll add that we can handle omni-channel engagement. So while our integrated web and app platforms tend to create the biggest channel shift, and this is most of what we're highlighting here today, We can also supplement your engagement channels with our IVR and point of sale solutions to cover those bases as well. So yes, I mentioned cash as an option before, and Dawn talked about this a little bit. And while we could probably devote an entire webinar to cash solutions, we'll just touch on this briefly today because, again, it was one of the bigger topics of discussion at CS Week. Dawn mentioned this before, and I've had discussions at other conferences as well, even outside the utility space, as governments understandably are looking at better ways to engage and be accessible to all of their constituents, especially those that are unbanked or that are underbanked, or the folks in your communities who have difficulties making payments in person. Sometimes the limitations on when and where they can make payments are based on their ability, or their inability rather, to afford to take time off from work, since their working hours overlap with your agency's hours for in-person transactions. Short version of that is that PayIt will be able to offer a way for your customers to make cash payments to cover their utilities, or frankly for other payments to the government, harnessing the power and reach of our cash network partners. And they'll be doing it through our platform, allowing them to keep those receipts saved alongside others they may have within their Gov wallet. Another of the big topics that came up at CS Week that I'd like to cover here is the concept of a single identity. Not coincidentally, this wasn't just a topic we were hearing at CS Week, but also at various other conferences we've attended over the last several months. If we think about it more like a single sign-on, where you have people typically within a single organization, work, or whatever you want to label it, interacting with multiple systems, but where they only need one set of login credentials to provide access to each of those disparate systems. Why do we do this? Because, among other reasons, it's time consuming, or it's hard for them to remember or keep track of these things safely, or it's annoying or whatever. And people prefer not to have to retain and produce credentials every time they need to interact with a different system there. Despite this understanding, organizations are then expecting their end users, their customers or citizens for our government folks, to interact with their system and other systems without solving the same problem. And for our government attendees listening in, I think we're acutely aware that for you, much of your citizens' data can be siloed between different departments, jurisdictions, or levels of government that all have their own system or multiple systems of record, and rarely share data horizontally or vertically throughout those. This status quo is at the heart of why we do what we do here at PayIt, and what we're already solving for citizens today. Don't let our name fool you. We are a world-class payment facilitator, of course, but we are also the premier citizen engagement tool. Whether you are a local utility provider and want to make things easier for your staff and make them easier for your customers, and we've already talked about some of the common obstacles they're dealing with today, or you're part of your city, county, or state government and want to streamline multiple types of citizen interactions or transactions, PayIt provides a platform to allow your customers, your citizens, one easy-to-use, single point of personalized interaction. Let me repeat that to be clear. We're offering more engagement workflows than just payments. One more bullet point worth discussing here as I lead into the last of those hot topics from CS Week. Again, referring back to NASCIO's State and Local 2022 Tech Forecast, the #1 priority for state CIOs, not just this year, but for 9 consecutive years now, is cybersecurity and risk management. And again, this one falling into the bucket of things that are probably not a surprise to anyone here, is that security was one of the hottest topics at CS Week and frankly, every conference we've been to this year. Whether your lane is utilities or something else, whether you're in finance, you're CEO, CIO, you're an elected official, robust security is pretty much table stakes in whatever you do in digital engagement going forward. We're happy to say that our system was engineered with security as one of our foundational elements. Today, PayIt securely processes billions of dollars through our platform. As a level 1 PCI DSS compliant service provider, we are held to high standards. This certification means that we can significantly lighten the PCI compliance burden for our clients, which, if you are familiar with what that entails, lifts both time, labor, and liability from your organization. Also, PayIt runs on the AWS GovCloud, which itself contributes a raft of significant security certifications to our solution. you can rest assured that this is as important to us as it is to you. So as far as best practices in digital customer engagement, you have to ensure that security is integral to your approach. Ultimately, the feedback from CS Week and elsewhere tells us that finding a platform that is secure, that incorporates a digital wallet and a single identity that is shared across different systems, that's accessible to all citizens, and adds flexibility for when and how it is used. These are some must-haves when looking at enhancing your utility organization's digital customer engagement. I'll add just a few more items here that are best practices. First of all, it probably goes without saying, but you need to embrace and hopefully get ahead of the changing landscape. If you're not already being asked to provide these things, something, customer pressure, modernization directives, or changing legislation are sure to push you there. And it might be on a timeline that's less than ideal. You should also be considering not just the solution or platform, but the vendor you're partnering with. Do they help you with community outreach? And do they have expertise in successfully rolling out citizen-facing solutions? Your partner's investment into marketing and rollout shows their interest in your success too. It isn't enough to have solutions that technically get the job done. They need to work for your customers. If they're not usable, you're not going to drive adoption. Today's utility software needs to be citizen-centric and built around making the engagement there easy and delightful. This will help you in moving away from more expensive engagement and payment channels. Find out if your new partner is helping support your customers. Here at PayIt, we'll take the first line of customer support calls. We're happy to help your customers, but our solutions have demonstrated that they're so easy to use, only a small fraction of the total interactions with our apps result in reaching out to support. One more often overlooked thing is that many of the people we talk to are under the impression that they need to rip out and replace their current system of record to make these moves towards modernization. Dawn talked about this earlier. With us, that's just not the case. We have the demonstrated ability to integrate with the systems our clients are using today, sometimes multiple systems for just one client implementation, based on the flexibility of our integrations. Whether you're on an old mainframe system or a more modern SaaS platform with API endpoints, we can enhance your customer engagement experience, and we can do that on a short timeline. So if you stayed with us this far, I hope you'll stay with us just a little bit longer as we wrap things up and move on to the questions that all of you in attendance have for us. As a reminder, if you haven't done so already, you can submit your questions for us through the chat section on the GoToWebinar interface. Also, if we run a little over time, again, we will be sending out a link to the recording, so stay as long as you're able to, but don't worry. So, what have we covered today? In short, it's clear we can make the most headway in improving digital citizen engagement for our utilities specifically and other citizens in general by pushing for digital interactions that focus on that user experience and that are designed to meet the needs of government. This doesn't mean giving up on current engagement channels, but it does mean being deliberate about increasing digital adoption channels that are becoming the go-to for our end users and are more cost-effective for us as well.
Adam, I'm seeing a lot of questions around integrations. Can you speak to how PayIt handles integrating with backend systems in general?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good question to sort of generalize anyway, because we'll get questions all the time. Do you interact with this system? Do you integrate with this system? And the truth is that there's probably a list of over 50 or more systems that we have integrations with today. And here's the thing: is that we've built our platform around being able to integrate easily with many other systems. So this is not the type of system where you have a vendor that's trying to control the entire soup to nuts length of this. We're basically enhancing other systems, so we need to integrate with those. But again, whether this is an old mainframe system, you have a more modern SaaS platform, you use APIs, we can certainly handle that. And again, we'll put our contact information at the end here, but we can certainly talk specifically about any of your individual needs as far as that goes.
Thanks, Adam. And one clarifying question here, you talked about the digital experience. Is this an app that people are forced to download on their phones?
Good question again. And, I'll say absolutely not forced and not even that they have to. Of course, we do, when we set up any individual customer, we will have a dedicated app part of the solution for them, both in Apple and Android. But we also allow users to use just a web browser on their desktop computer or a lot of mobile web interactions. And those are actually probably the bigger use case today is through a browser. So absolutely, they're not forced to download an app. We're trying to again make this accessible for everyone.
Great, thank you. And another one here before we get to the rest of them in the chat. How long does it typically take to implement this solution? And I think that was regarding the utilities specifically.
Yeah, so again, I think that with something like this, it's really dependent on the individual client that we're working with. So there's a lot of things that could change this potentially. But like if you're starting off, you're doing utilities and that's the singular focus of this, a lot of times we've been able to do that within 90 days, give or take. Obviously, cooperation on the client part and making sure that the deliverables are there to our implementation folks as needed, that's absolutely doable. But we can certainly go through that depending on the specific needs of whoever we're talking to. If they have other things they need to add to that, it obviously changes the timeline, but that's a good, starting point to look at it.
Thanks, Adam. One more, how does a resident look up their water bill in your system?
Good question. So it actually varies. There's not just one way to do it. When we implement any particular client, and this is whether it's utilities or something else, the system's highly configurable to the business rules of the utility or the city or the county or whoever we're working with in a number of different ways. As far as their citizens getting in there and looking up their accounts, how simple or how complicated that can be is really up to how our client decides to make that. So we see sometimes where one of our clients might only need them to put in their account number and that allows them to look up and link that. Whereas some other clients might have 4 different pieces of identifiable information that they have to enter to get to that point. So bottom line is it's configurable, but it's based on the business rules that the client has.
Great, thank you. I think we probably have time for one more. We got a question about tolling. I know we've talked a lot about utilities today. Danny, your question was, have you seen the PayIt application to toll road authorities and share some details? Yes, we absolutely have. Adam, I don't know if you want to elaborate today, but we could certainly follow up to talk about specific projects we've had.
Yeah, I mean, again, short version of that is that we absolutely do have those applications. This is a vertical that we cover. We've got clients that are doing that with us today. It's sort of one of the things that is quite a bit different than other use cases that we have. So there's probably not a lot of general things that we could share here that would be applicable to utilities too, but probably better just to set up a meeting just for Danny, I guess in this case, to go through that and go through all of her questions or his question, sorry.
Sounds like a plan. We will certainly do that. And if we missed any other questions in the chat, we will follow up with you afterwards. I think knowing that we're already over a couple of minutes, we'll advance to our final slide, which is another resource for you. So we have appreciated your time spent with us today. One last thing we wanted to share is this report and interactive ROI calculator that was put together by the consultants at Forrester Research. Aside from giving you a quick estimate of how PayIt could impact your organization, it contains a great summary of departments and associated budget items benefited by a digital engagement platform that may be helpful to you as you are working on your own business case and solution assessments. So you can scan the QR code here or visit assessment.payitgov.com to learn more. Adam, back to you.
Here's our contact information. Got our email addresses up here. Whatever questions you have, whether you just have questions, you want to set up a demo, whatever that is. We'll make sure we get any of these inquiries to the right people. Thank you again so much for joining us. Definitely keep an eye out for additional webinars. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.